Hi, in this module we'll be having a quick talk about different aspects relating to data and documentation and why these are so important for you as an engineer. Data may take many different forms, and there's lots of different things that we're talking about when we talk about data. For example, from a mathematical point of view, it could be quantitative or qualitative, continuous, discrete, nominal or ordinal. However, it could also be described based on where it originates from or even what it describes. So for example, you can see here in the diagram that there's many different types of data. These are relating to where they originate from. They could be geographical, cultural, scientific, financial. These all represent a wide variety of different data types. And the form that the data takes could also vary as well. It could be observational, things that you've observed in the environment or in your neighbourhood, for example. It could be experimental. You've had a research question and you're experimenting to prove or disprove your research question. And so these will be things where you're varying one or two different variables and then measuring the response. It could be from a simulation, so you're running a model and you're seeing what happens. Or it could be in an aggregated form. What we mean by this is that if it's derived or compiled, this is data that is aggregated or analysed, such as in data mining or different compiled databases. Or it could be in the form of a reference, and this is data that is collected, reviewed and published, and it includes things such as databanks or data portals. So when we are collecting data, we need to be sure that it's good quality, reliable and relevant. And so we'll be having to talk about some aspects relating to that in the next few slides. However, we also need to make sure that we're storing and managing this data properly. So we'll also have a talk about data management. And this is a broad term that really addresses the completed life cycle of research output, from data creation through to organisation, accessibility, distribution, and also archiving. So typically when we think about data, you may think we're referring to research. However, it's not just researchers who need good quality data and therefore good quality data management. Think about it. When you're working on a very large construction project, there's a multitude of different data sources that are going on. So every structure that's ever been erected is backed up by plans, and these plans contain massive amounts of information. So for example, think about building engineering logs. The different construction workers, they monitor different crane work use or earth movers and materials logistics. Some of this data may be captured in common construction software. For example, the use of computer-aided design, CAD schematics. It could also be included in other online or other software systems, such as systems that that take a track of employee details or payroll, such as expenses and invoices, and other aspects of projects. However, data can be found in a whole range of different forms, not all of which may be initially obvious. So you could also have unstructured data. This could be things like just analog sensor data. It could be things like emails, Word documents, printed plans, so things that are no longer online and can be kept track of. And in addition to this, it could also be in other forms such as historical records, environmental data, even social media, and it could also be present in stakeholder engagement meetings or online responses. So there's a whole range of different forms that data can take, especially when we think about how we apply it to our own fields of engineering. So therefore, why is data management important? First of all, think of it from what can good data management provide us? So what are some opportunities for which we need good quality data? If you really want to look at how to improve the way that you deliver certain projects. You really need to have good quality data on the past projects so you can better inform future solutions and optimizations. If you want to use data to have more accurate simulations and models, so these are really important for the concepts relating to smart cities. You need to be confident that the data on which you're basing these models is reliable and that it's actually measuring what you think it's measuring. We also need good quality data for real-time data. So if we want to get an accurate representation of what's happening in real time in a certain area, such as for weather predictions or even traffic models, such as when you open Google Maps and you can see where the traffic is heavy, you need to make sure that the data which these programs are using is actually representative. And also there's a whole range of new potential aspects relating to artificial intelligence. And so there's a whole interesting area of how these can be used to aid construction management. However, in order to really utilize these opportunities, you need to make sure that the data sets that you're using to train your AI are accurate and representative of the real world. So you may have heard of things like big data and the Internet of Things. And these are great ideas, but they really need to be based on good quality data, and that good quality data can be ensured by having good quality data management systems. So if we're talking about data management, why do you need good data management? It's not just so you can have more opportunities to do more exciting things. However, frequently when you're working in industry, there'll also be a need for data privacy and security. A lot of the projects you may be working on will be confidential or confidential commercial in confidence, so that you shouldn't be releasing information that you're not allowed to. So therefore it's important to handle that data appropriately. Also, in terms of legal purposes, frequently record keeping is very important to make sure that you're not liable if something goes wrong. So for example, a lot of the challenges with the building in Sydney, such as I'm going to get the name from Opal Towers and things like that. It's been looking back through all of the old data records of the construction managers, the architects, the structural engineers, to really see what went wrong and who was responsible. And therefore this links in with also your insurance. So you need to have good quality data to make sure that you are not liable for anything. And also insurance really requires you to also keep good quality data. Otherwise you may not be covered because you may have been negligent in keeping the data, and therefore they think you don't have a record of whether or not you were negligent in how you provided your service. And then also we have risks. Obviously we've talked about some of the risks associated with legal and insurance purposes and security. However, what could happen if things go wrong? I'm sure over all of our years at university, we've all had problems relating to loss of data. Maybe you've lost your computer, maybe someone's stolen your computer, you've got corrupted files, your USB has been corrupted by some viruses if you've put it onto a computer at university. So you really need to think about what is the consequence if something does go wrong with losing your data or not being able to find what the data actually means. And we need to make sure that we don't let these risks happen if they're going to be of particularly high consequence. So therefore, we need data management to ensure that we're protected